hi, Cove.
Hey, Cove.
Pastor Dan and Ann here again on a Wednesday midweek update, and we're indoors in the living room because it is sort of misty and gray outside.
Seattle weather.
Yeah, we feel right at home in this weather, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to say the Cove postcard project is so successful. We put through about 88 postcards you sent in, and I was able to get readdressed and sent out. So hopefully by now you've received one if you participated, and maybe you didn't send one and you still got one. Friday is the last day to send in, and we will let those cycle through, and then I'll be announcing something else next week that we might get involved in on a creative sense. So thanks.
Nice. You know, if you were here with us on last Wednesday's update, we sort of lost all sense and just got crazy, and we filmed in the car, and it's sort of amazing how many people have given us comments and feedback about that, including a lot of requests to do it again, only actually do the karaoke, the singing like the comedian James Corden does on his show, and we just want to say, no. That's not going to happen. So don't hold your breath on that. That's why we're hiding in the living room today. So my family, the extended Baumgartner family, during this shelter in place, this quarantine time, has been doing a weekly Zoom call together. So that's almost everybody in the Seattle area, and then a little bit of Idaho sprinkled in, and then us down here. And after a few times of doing that, which it's great to see everybody and visit, but we sort of found we needed a organizing question each time. So this last week, the question was simply, tell everybody about something you've been doing during this quarantine time that you weren't necessarily doing before, something new. So we just thought we'd throw that out there because I think it's kind of fun to have a table question, as we call them when we're around tables, and we tell you how we answered the question.
Yeah. Besides just slowing down and just having a different rhythm to life, I would say, I told the group that I've gotten really into making cookies, which I've always loved making cookies, and I just don't do it very much now that the kids are gone. And I've been making, I don't know, every other week a little batch and like circulating, and we have several neighbors that we sort of share treats with, and it's been quite popular, and I have found some amazing new recipes. I'm trying to try new ones. So.
Nice.
How about you?
My new thing, I eat cookies. No, that's not
That's true.
You know, I felt really boring when this question came up. In fact, I think I thought of the question, but I still felt boring because I haven't really done too much really new. I've just done the things that I usually do, quite a bit more of them. So I'm running more and further. I am certainly biking more and further. I always read a lot, but I'm reading even more. So it just feels like I sort of ratcheted up the dial on the ways that I use my time already. So
I'm gonna take off. I'm going down to the studio, but good to see you, and I hope you're well. It's been really fun to hear back from different folks. Thanks for staying in touch, and I miss you. Bye-bye.
So
Bye.
The studio, of course, is in the
Right.
garage in the back.
But I'm going to go outside and out to it.
Okay. So I just had a couple of thoughts I wanted to throw out for all of us. There's a bit of a disconnect that we talked about during Sunday's sermon. The sermon was again from the book of Exodus, and the theme was celebration, on the journey, celebration. And there's kind of a disconnect in this time where there's a lot of people in a lot of different kinds of hardship. There's a lot of people going a little bit stir crazy and getting antsy, and just life has been upended in a pretty big way. So there's some disconnect to talking about celebrating during this time, and we talked on Sunday about how that looked for the people of Israel as they started their journey, the Exodus on the other side of the Red Sea. And maybe one of the most important things was just acknowledging that even as they began to celebrate the defeat of the Egyptians and their newfound freedom, not all was well in their world. There was all sorts of dangers and unknowns lurking ahead and behind, but they still stopped to celebrate. And I just wanted us to think together a little bit more today about the practicality of that. What does that actually look like to celebrate in real life? So I had 4 different things that I thought of. One was simply being able to do something kind of spontaneous, not planned. And I don't know if it's any harder or easier in this shelter-in-place time, but just the quick pick up the phone and call somebody, or text and see if you can Zoom with them 10 minutes from now. Just a quick, I had a thought, I'm going to act on it relationally with someone, just to touch in. That's just one way that you can kind of celebrate by not having to be all planned out and get set up and everything else, but just, hey, in the moment, I'm gonna live into this. I'm gonna go for it. A little bit of overlap with the second one, but it again is around that idea of spontaneous. I don't know about you all, but there have been some evenings, and last night was one, where we got done with dinner and I just felt like, boy, I just don't want to sit in the house again. Like, we've taken walks at night and some other things, but last night we just threw the dishes into the sink and jumped in the car. It was a little after 7, kind of sunset, twilight. And we drove out past the Cove and down Fott Road, and then turned onto Chalk Hill Road and went all the way out and hit the 128 and then circled back towards Healdsburg, out there in the Alexander Valley, where it's just so gorgeous. Oak trees and masses of vineyards, of course, and rolling hills and farms and the light of twilight. It was beautiful, and it just felt like a spontaneous, hey, here's something we can do, break the routine a little bit, and really take in God's good creation and celebrate in that way. Another thing came up on Sunday, actually, and this would be my encouragement for you and for us, to celebrate people. Sunday, of course, was Mother's Day, and our kids all Zoomed in, and they were great because they intentionally, each one of them, Jesse, Nick, and Dana, had something specific and direct to say to Anne, something that they appreciated about her as a mom, either growing up or currently. And it was super meaningful for Anne. She felt like she was just really celebrated, kind of toasted, and that direct word of affirmation is just a great way to celebrate someone in the midst of life. So that's 3. The last one I mentioned on Sunday, but that is, we can pray our thanksgivings, because Thanksgiving is just directly related to celebration. We can pray, and I would encourage you to maybe set aside a little bit of time, maybe 5 minutes. If you have people in your family, do it together, and just go into a time of casual prayer that is nothing but thank yous. Thank you to God for who He is. Thank you to God for things that He has done. Thank you to God for people, or for creation, for nature, for circumstances, anything that comes to mind that you can be thankful for. And what we found as we've done this in some different ways is that it really creates an open door of celebration. So not everything in life has to be good or put together or finished, but we can be thankful, and that's another way to celebrate. Being spontaneous in a number of ways, celebrating people directly, and then praying our thanksgivings to God. And I think as we do that, we'll experience something of celebration in life, and it will change our weeks, even in the midst of the quarantine. So that's it for Wednesday midweek. Great to see you, and we miss you, and God bless.